Looking for your first credit card? Which card makes the most sense for you? Hey everyone, we'll discuss that and much more in this video, as we're going to explore the best credit cards for beginners in 2024. We'll go over what to look for in a credit card, how to understand credit card terms, and at the end, I'll share with you some of the top picks for the best credit cards for beginners in 2024. If you're new to credit cards, this video is for you. So, what to look for if you're new to credit cards? Since you'll likely won't be able to qualify for some of the better credit cards that come with great rewards and perks, or some of the large sign-up bonuses, you'll likely have to start smaller with your first credit card, with a card that is meant for people with very little or no credit history. And that's why we're here, to help show you what types of cards you can target as a new potential credit card holder. There are several cards that offer decent rewards and don't charge annual fees, and I'll go over a few of those at the end. Some of the cards we'll discuss are student credit cards, regular credit cards for limited or no credit history applicants who aren't in college, and secured credit cards. First off, we'll discuss student credit cards. These cards are available exclusively to college students. These are cards that can be a great first step in establishing a good credit history for students. Building good credit might not seem like something you need to focus on while you're in college, but getting a head start on building good credit can allow you the ability in the future to finance a car, buy a house, or qualify for some of the best credit cards. Good credit will also allow you to get better interest rates on financing, which can save you a lot of money over the terms of those loans. And that applies to everyone, not just those in college. Having good credit truly can save you thousands over your lifetime because of the better interest rates you'll get from lenders. I do want to note, though, just because you're a college student applying for a student credit card doesn't mean you'll automatically qualify for that card. In general, you'll need access to some form of income, and if you have a poor credit score or no credit history at all, it may be hard to get approved. And if you're not a college student, don't fret. There are cards out there for you as well, and we'll go over some of those later in this video. And if you're unable to get a normal unsecured credit card, then there's also the option of getting a secured credit card. These types of cards require you to put down a cash deposit as collateral. For example, with a secured card I'll talk about later, it requires a $49 deposit, and if approved, that issuer will grant you a $200 credit limit. The issuer then holds your deposit in case you don't pay your bill. You'll be able to get your deposit back when you upgrade to a regular unsecured credit card in the future, or when you close out that account if it's in good standing. Secured cards are much easier to get because the deposit protects the issuer from losing money. This may be the path you need to take to start your credit card journey if you aren't approved for an unsecured credit card. Now that we've spent a little time talking about the different types of credit cards you can get for beginners, I want to go over some general credit card terms and conditions. Looking at credit card terms can seem daunting, but it's very important to make sure you understand the terms you're agreeing to when you apply for a card. In the United States, all credit card issuers have to disclose information such as finance charges, fees, and annual percentage rates, or APRs, in a standardized way to you before you open an account. You can find the pricing and terms information with any credit card application on their website when applying, or in the literature they send you in the mail if you get a credit card offer that way. The first part we're going to look through is the interest rate and interest charges section. They have this broken down into 3 sections, one for the APR for regular purchases, another for balance transfers, and finally for cash advances. For regular purchases, this is the rate of interest you'll be charged for any purchases you make on the card if you don't pay off your statement balance by the due date each month. The APR that you would get is listed here and would be somewhere in that range based on your credit worthiness, which is just a combination of your credit history, credit score, and other factors. For balance transfers, they tend to have the same rate as your normal purchases, but occasionally the card issuer will have a promotional rate like this card currently has for a lower APR for a set number of months. Once that promotional time period comes to an end, your balance transfer would go back to the normal rate if you haven't paid off the balance transfer on the card. And finally, in this section, they have the APR for cash advances. This rate is almost always higher than the normal rate and is something I would never recommend using unless you had an emergency situation and had no other means to get cash. One other item I wanted to point out is that some credit cards will also have a penalty APR which just means they can raise your interest rate on the card to a higher amount if you're late on your payments. This card from Discover doesn't penalize you. The next section I want to focus on is how to avoid paying interest charges. This is pretty straightforward. If you pay your statement balance off each month before the due date, then you won't have to pay any interest. And I can't emphasize this enough. If you're starting out on your credit card journey, pay your balance off each month so you can take full advantage of credit card rewards and cash back. The most important rule I can impress on you is to only use your credit card if you'll be able to pay what you charged each month. Having a running balance and paying interest defeats the purpose of using a credit card and taking advantage of those rewards and cash back. Next, in the fees section, you'll see what the credit card charges for their annual fee. You'll notice that this card doesn't have an annual fee, and you'll see shortly that all the cards I'll be recommending at the end also have no annual fee. I do want to mention, though, how annual fees work, so you understand that in case you get a card in the future that has one. If you're approved for a card with an annual fee, the card issuer will bill you the annual fee on your very first statement, and then every 12 months after that for as long as you keep the card. Transaction fees are listed in the next section. This is what the card will charge you when you transfer a balance from another credit card or you do a cash advance. Pay close attention to this because this could be a pretty significant fee if you take advantage of either of these features. In the penalties fee section, it lays out what the card issuer will charge you if you're late with a payment. Not only could a late payment get you a fee like this added to your account, but as I mentioned earlier, on some cards, it could also trigger the penalty APR as well, which would raise your overall interest rate on the card. Another section I want to highlight is tied to payment allocation. Many credit cards have similar wording in how payments are applied. The card issuer has the ability to apply your payment in any way they see fit. If you have a balance transfer or a cash advance on your account along with regular purchases, the bank can make the choice to apply your payment to whichever of those they want to. Basically, they could apply your payment to the portion of your balance tied to a lower interest rate, like a promotional APR balance transfer, instead of your purchases, which benefits them and not you. That's why I highly encourage always paying your statement balance off each month so you don't have to worry about how the bank will apply your payment. They also mention here briefly their details on credit lines, or as we commonly refer to them, credit limits. Your actual credit limit will depend on several factors, including your credit history, income, and other factors. Finally, I want to point out the rewards section. If a card has a rewards or cash back program, they will spell out those details in this section. And as this card clearly explains here, you won't earn cash back on cash advances or balance transfers, which is standard for all credit cards. Bottom line, you'll only earn cash back on purchases you make with the card. Now that we've spent some time in going over a few types of cards and a high-level look at credit card terms and conditions, I want to give you some top picks for beginner credit cards. I'm going to go over 4 credit cards that I would recommend as great first cards. 3 of the cards will be the more standard unsecured credit cards, and the last card will be a secured credit card. The first 2 cards we'll go over are the Discover It student cards, the cashback version and their Chrome version. These cards are very similar, with the only real difference being their cashback categories. The cashback version of the card gives you 5% cashback on rotating categories that change every quarter. Here's a list of the categories since 2021, as well as the first quarter of 2024. Discover announces the categories for each quarter about a month before each quarter starts. So for the second quarter of 2024, Discover will announce those categories in March. The other version of this card, the Chrome version, gives you 2% cash back on restaurants and gas. For purchases that don't fall in any of these specific categories for each of these cards, will get you 1% cash back. Both of these cards from Discover also have a great feature called Cashback Match that doubles your cash back that you receive the first year you have the card. For example, if you spend enough to earn $200 in cash back in the first year, Discover will double that amount to $400. After the first year, though, the double cashback feature no longer applies. The third card I'd recommend is the Capital One Quicksilver One, which is a simple 1.5% cashback card. With this card, you don't have to worry about which categories get extra cash back each quarter. This card is just a simple 1.5% cash back on all purchases. The The card also has a nice feature where you'll automatically be considered for a credit limit increase once you've made the first 6 monthly payments on time. The final card I want to mention is called the Capital One Platinum Secured Credit Card. The big difference between this card and the others is that this is a secured credit card, so you'll have to deposit money with the issuer. If you're approved for this card, they will offer you a $200 credit limit after making a $49 deposit. And this card also has the same feature like the other Capital One card, where after 6 months, you'll automatically be considered for a credit limit if you make your payments on time. All 4 of these cards have no annual fee, which is something I highly recommend when you're starting out on your own credit card journey. No need trying to figure out if you get enough value from a card that comes with an annual fee at this point. Save that for a later time when your credit history and credit score are in a better place. So which of these cards is the best for you? It really depends on whether you're a college student or not and can get approved for an unsecured credit card like either of the Discover It student cards or the Capital One Quick Silver one. If you're a college student, it depends on your spending habits. If you spend more on gas and eating out, then the Chrome version of that card is probably the best choice. If you think your spending may line up better with the rotating categories each quarter, then the Discover Student Cashback is probably a better fit. And if you don't want to worry about rotating categories and you aren't a big spender on gas and eating out, then the Quick Silver One card may make the most sense. If you're not a college student, then I would recommend the Capital One Quick Silver One. It's a nice card and simple to manage, and you don't have to worry about particular spending categories. And if you can't get approved for any of the unsecured cards, that's okay. Apply for something like the Capital One Platinum Secure Card and start building your credit that way. Once you've had any of these cards for a year or so and you're making your payments on time, you should then be able to start looking into other cards that offer the nice sign-up bonuses, rewards, and other perks. No matter what credit card you end up getting, remember that being responsible and making sure to pay at a minimum the monthly payment on time every month is a crucial step in building a strong financial foundation and credit history. As always, thanks for watching and staying until the end. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on personal finance and effective credit card use. See you next time.